All right, welcome back to Chat UFC, where we are going to wrap up last week. Not a good week. Um, Good moments, though. Definitely a lot to build on. And at the end here, I'm going to go over how the channel is going to be changing a little bit as we, obviously, as a sports bettor, you got to adapt. We haven't done too bad on the pre-fight bets. There have been a lot of swings, a lot of ups and downs, as can be expected anytime you're betting. However, we have isolated a spot, a situation, a way of getting at the action that has proven to be not only more profitable per unit placed, but also more consistent with less swings. And so first we're going to dive into last week, where it'll really emphasize why we're going this way. But it's not just last week. I mean, for those of you who have been following me for a while, you'll know it's an up and down. It's an up and down thing. We're up, we're down, we're everywhere in between. And so let's just dive right in here and talk about the bets, where we went right, where we went wrong. I actually watched the entire live stream, almost the entire live stream. I will be finishing that to wrap up my strategies and techniques of betting for the next fight, but let's go over the results. First bet of the night, Rodrigo Cincinnati had it 50-50 pretty much, put a unit to win 1.8 at a plus 180. That lost. Daniil was very good and much better than Cincinnati. Next bet of the night, no pre-fight bet, but here's where we really started to cook. Montserrat Rendon, we ended up getting 3 units down at plus 297. Rewatch the stream back. She won round 1 pretty clearly, or close, but they had the line flipped. All the money was coming in on Alice Pereira. This is always an interesting spot where Montserrat Rendon was not really getting credit for a lot of the work she was doing in the first round. Alice Pereira was sort of getting overvalued on the betting line, and we were able to snag up plus 200, plus 300, plus 285, and so 3 units. We tripled down to win 8.9 at plus 297. Cashes on Montserrat Rendon pretty easily. You know the line was off when in the third round Rendon was a minus 500, and so we were able to snag up plus 300 in the second round, which was amazing. Next one, Alden Correa. My pre-fight metrics would have not had a bet on it, but the moment the fight started, we saw what we saw, and the betting line was not moving accordingly. We were able to snag up, I think, a plus 185, and another bet at plus, what was it, plus 125 about. We got a combined plus 158, 2 units, win 3.5. So 2 live bets, profited 12.05 units. We then swung into Jesus Santos Aguilar. Was going to actually get some live action in on him, but this is where we're going to be learning and getting better at the live betting. Weren't able to get the numbers in fast enough. There were moments where it looked like he was up 2 rounds, potentially, maybe 50-50, but it was close enough where we're getting plus money, and that was the time to go on him. But 2 units win 3.51 at plus 176 cashes. And we were at halftime here, and things were looking pretty good. And just like in Dana White's Contender series, which I'll show those later, it took a turn for the worst as we went on. And so we live bet Amanda Lemos, which still, in my opinion, was a great bet in the second round. She almost finishes her in the third, definitely wins the third, loses 29-28, but the first and the second round were very close. And so we were getting a plus 1,000 a unit to win 10. Would have been just an incredible win if she could have pulled it off. But she loses 29-28, still like that bet. The point, 9-1 units to win a unit at plus 110 on Claudio Puelles. I do not like. I went back on the stream. There were moments on Joaquim Silva, plus 370 in the first round. Early second round, you could have gotten Joaquim Silva at a plus 850. And so that was the key spot, plus the 370. Not a lot of damage had gone down on Silva. And so that's just a crazy line. That's where we'll learn. This should be showing a bet on Joaquim Silva. Instead, it's showing Puelles, because going into the third round, Puelles was 1-1. Puelles looked like he had the wrestling in the back pocket, but he ends up getting finished and loses. And just so plus 110 when we could have got the plus 850 on Silva, could have got the plus 370 for a while. That's the way to go, and we will learn for sure, because we are going to be focusing on the live. Okay, next bet. Boop, 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 boop. We actually had Santiago Luna down here. We had him in the Tatiana Suarez, Santiago Luna, Canelo Alvarez, Viva la Mexico parlay. We'll get to the end of the night. But straight up play here, we had Diego Ferreira, plus 101 combined. Super interesting. Again, this is why I'm leaning, and the channel will start leaning more towards live. If not, 100% live, is this big bet on Ferreira kept me off of a clear live betting spot. If you take a look back, run the tape. After the first round, Alex Hernandez was a plus 180, and he clearly won the first round. I don't know necessarily why the line moved like that, but it was enough where I was talking about it midstream, and I'm going, Hernandez plus 180, but that me picking, putting it on the line, etc. If Ferreira wins, then I come back and say, hey, the bet I gave out that I thought was going to win, I hedged on it, and I didn't end up winning. Or even I gave out this bet, then I bet Hernandez, hedged on it. Either way, I bet on it, Hernandez plus 180, and then everyone comes back and says, well, you told us to take Ferreira. So the honest truth is I'm seeing that there is less value trying to predict who is better pre-fight. Sometimes there are clear examples, and we will bet those. But a 40-year-old Ferreira against a younger Hernandez, coming off super short notice where he just fought, got an easy win against Hooper. I thought the levels would be different, but it looked like Hernandez is coming into his own. Ferreira, showed a little bit of a chin there, got taken down, ground and pounded, and so he gets knocked out in the second. We could have had Hernandez with up 1-0 on the cards. Up 1-0, very hard to finish, so he only needs to win one of the next two. Younger fighter, all of that. We had all of that, and we didn't take it, the plus 180. So that one was on me, and that was also something we're going to change, where we're not going to have these massive pre-fight plays that then keep us off clear value. I mean, Hernandez should have been a 3-unit dump at a plus 180. That's a 3-unit, if not more, a max play, because you're up around, it's plus 180. And you were basically an even money fighter. It's not like Hernandez was a plus 300 pre-fight and he wins round one. It's just people were not scoring round one for Hernandez, and we had that with the analyzer. We knew Hernandez won that round, and so there you go. Another testament to the live, but it gets a little funky here. Gastelum was in a parlay. If we come down here with Jared Gordon, and another interesting one. So Gastelum, looks like it's about 1-1. Turned out he was actually up 2-0, but it looked about 1-1. He was taking some big shots from Dustin Stoltzfus. And so seeing it as 1-1 going into the third, a plus 180 potential that Stoltzfus could finish it. He had his moments. They both had their moments. But again, this was a bet because of the Gastelum parlay. Again, I'm getting my... I didn't hedge it on the other one. Then I hedged it on this, and it's a parlay. So at this point, I'm kind of just making mistakes. It's a little bit in my head, and I would say I'm just not – the strategy is not great. Having a parlay on Gastelum and Jared Gordon and then hedging it, even though it's the first leg, it's all a lot of, negative EV plays on my part. So rode with Gastelum, hedged on Stoltzfus. Okay, I lost, fine, but I know I have this Gordon-Gastelum parlay, which will basically even out the loss on the hedge, and – we find out later, Jared Gordon got into the accident. He gets beat, and there were moments in that one as well. Could have been a fade. Could have been a hedge with Garcia, but we had already hedged and lost. So a lot of things got in my head because of these pre-fight plays. It was just bad execution. And so we took that L on the Kevin Gastelum, Jared Gordon parlay. That was a loss with Jared Gordon getting beat. And then we rolled in Rob Font. We like the metrics, everything like that. We bet Rob Font 3.8 to win 3 units and a minus 127. He loses a 29-28 decision. Don't disagree with it. It was a very close fight. The line was lined up pretty good. There was betting. There was plus money spots on David Martinez. There was plus money spots on Rob Font live. And so once again, the live betting is the way to go. Could have got a better line on either guy. Could have bet both sides. Won money. Instead, we went 3.8 units, lost on Font in a close decision. And then we did not bet Diego Lopez, showing about a 50-50 with Jan Silva. Got worried about the Jan Silva hype train. Actually snagged Jan Silva live at a plus 110 when he was dominating that second round. Then he makes a mistake, gets beat. Our under 61.5 significant strikes from one of the commenters, Curtis, shout him out. He hit the under 61.5 significant strikes. He had... who did he have? He had Joaquin Silva at a plus 370. He made a lot of good plays during the live stream. So we're also going to incorporate those because he's got some really sharp prop bets that he lays out. And so Jan Silva under, only ones that hits, goes the distance at the plus 400. Great closing line value, but that does not cash, obviously. And Diego Lopez could have got him at plus money many a times, and he comes out with the win. So, and all of that losing at the end there, all that being said, we were still only down about 0.8 units, and we had a 2-unit to win 4.59 unit parlay on Suarez, Luna, and all we needed was Canelo. We added 4.36 to win 2.57 units on Canelo, combined 6.36 to win 7.16. And what can I say? I'm not a boxing bettor. I don't know why. I rolled with it. I rolled with Canelo. I do know a few guys who are boxing bettors, who are professional boxers, and they liked Canelo, but not normally what I do. And they're not professional bettors. They're professional boxers, and they like to bet. Doesn't mean they're professional bettors. And I took Canelo at that minus 170. That was a bad bet. And you could have actually got Crawford after round 3 at a plus 130. And he was arguably up 3 rounds to nothing. So again, live betting is the way to go. And let's demonstrate that here. Dana White's Contender Series. This was on Tuesday. We started out absolutely on fire. We hit Samuel Sanchez 1.15 to win a unit, but we also had Sanchez by KO at plus 225, 1 unit to win 2.25. So those were pre-fight bets, and we got lucky on those. But then Freddie Vidal half unit to win 1.75 units. What was our plus money on that? That was a very nice live plus money, plus 350. And the only thing I regret is half unit. We were still getting busy on the live, so that would have been 3.5 units if I do my standard 1 unit. Another great play based on the analyzer. And so live cash is there. And then we get to the end. Everything was loaded up. My friend from the gym who was going to Dana White's Contender Series main event, favorite to get the knockout, big power puncher. And just ran into a guy who had something for him. 4.95 units to win 3, loses. And then we also had the props, which lost. So what happened was we overextended, got too much action down on 2 fights in particular, and that's what crushed us on the day. So minus 19.16 units pre-fight bets, plus 8.89 units on the live bets, finish us minus 10.27 units on the week. So if you look at the overall, after the minus 10.27 units, we are currently at 37.02 units up on the year. And obviously the live has been cooking along. In our last 4 events, we have seen 9.22 units profited. We're up a total of 12.98 cumulative live. And so the announcement is we will be going live for the UFC, each event, and that is where we're going to be placing our bets. We'll have our leans, we'll have our numbers, but we will be mainly focusing on betting strategy live and making money there. So join us tomorrow for Dana White's Contender Series live, where we go and try to crush it. No event this week, Saturday. It'll be next week, where we will definitely have our action for UFC Perth.